Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. My partner, Kristen Oaks-White, has the week off. We're coming to you today from Caneland Distilling near downtown Baton Rouge. It's the home of three-roll estate spirits. I'm talking about rum, vodka, and also their OMFW whiskey, which is all excellent. The tasting room here was recently host to the end of harvest party. That's where folks celebrated the end of sugarcane harvest. And as Twila's Carl Wiggers shows us, one of the stars of that show was the rum agricole, which is made directly from cane juice brought here from Alma Plantation.
Cars are looking for a place to park near Caneland Distillery, and people are filling up the tasting room to get their hands on the newly rebranded spirit made in downtown Baton Rouge. Folks are here for the end of harvest party, where they can sample rums made over the last couple of years here at Caneland Distilling Company.
Yeah, you want to try Brazilian?
Head distiller Johnny Verplank and his team unveiled the new three-roll estate brand here at this year's event.
I mean, been working 80 hours a week for the last 3.5 months or so. So the sugarcane harvest, we're done with the harvest now as of my birthday. So January 10th, we finished there. And then we have the trickle down. So that was the last of the juice that we got to do the agricole style rum. And so we're finishing up right now, and hopefully can decompress a little bit and take down the hours and settle, let the dust settle from harvest.
Verplank says that this style of rum is only possible because of their access to the sugar mill at Alma Plantation.
We use the fresh pressed cane juice during harvest. We use the A-grade molasses during harvest only because that's the only time you can get it. And then we also use cane syrup sometimes. And then when it's not harvest, we use C molasses and unrefined sugar the whole rest of the year.
This close connection allows Three-Roll Estate to stand out from the crowd with this special rum.
We do a style of rum. We're one of only 3 people in the United States doing agricole style rum. So rum agricole spelled R-H-U-M, and the agricole side means agricultural. Three-Roll
Estate Rum Agricole is bringing the sugarcane plantation to downtown Baton Rouge, but this bottle is also taking the story of Louisiana sugarcane around the world.
I mean, Louisiana has some of the best sugarcane in the world, and there's a lot of it here. And we just launched in California, and I'm out there doing a little sales drive with my people and talking to them, and they didn't even know that Louisiana grew sugarcane. And they've been growing sugarcane for 200 years, you know? So it's crazy to educate people just even here in the U.S. Like they don't even realize, and that's the purest expression of the terroir of Louisiana, and rum in itself is from the fresh pressed juice.
Verplank says that on days when they're bringing the fresh juice from the mill in Alma Plantation, they have 2 trucks running every 90 minutes to make sure that juice stays as fresh as it can be. And Avery, that's one of the really neat things about this rum, is that it's the freshest it can possibly be, because that juice will go start to ferment if it takes longer than 90 minutes. That's really cool.
As you brought up earlier, it is something that is so uniquely and completely Louisiana. Yes. It's also completely clean tasting. I love the rum agricole because it is it's that clean finish that you get with it. And the way that we're gonna have to try it later is with lime juice on the rocks.
I'm not mad at that. I'll tell you one other cool thing about shooting this story was the Friday night vibe. It was a really good party. That tasting room, we're gonna be in there in a minute, and it is incredible. It's such a cool place. It got a great feel to it, and just where you want to go hang out on a Friday night. And I will be definitely coming back here, well, maybe with a friend or two.
We're going to see how much you can handle in just a little bit. Thank you very much, Carl Wiggers. While not every sugarcane farmer attended the end of harvest party here at Caneland, they were celebrating for sure. As Twila's Neil Melanson shows us, while most cane farmers did well this year, it was a long, wet, muddy season.
By most measures, this was a good season for sugarcane in Louisiana. Sugar content was down from the previous year, but with huge tonnage going into the mills, most farmers were satisfied with their yields. However, the rainfall was also above average this year, pretty much from the start, meaning a wet, muddy, and long harvest.
We didn't get done until January, I think the 14th or the 15th. That Sunday, yeah, I think the 14th we got done. Longest grinding since I've been farming.
Pete Dufresne had additional challenges as well. We caught back up with him here at the foot of the Sunshine Bridge. You might remember it was closed for much of his harvest season after a bridge accident, adding 2 more hours of drive time for his rigs. Now the bridge is back open, but it was a challenge for him this year.
What started off as a 3-hour journey to make a load after they opened up one lane, we were still limited to crossing the bridge only empty, so it turned out to be 2 hours. We still had to take the loaded trucks around Gramercy.
Further west, the St. Mary Sugar Co-op breathed a sigh of relief as the harvest ended. Not only did that mean an end to the work, but they also avoided the polar vortex that froze parts of Louisiana in late January.
We try to get in and out before the freeze comes in late January, early February. Sometimes we're more lucky than some. But this year we've had a lot of rain, a lot of mud to contend with.
Ronald Hebert is one of those producers who delivers to St. Mary. He got to show off his farm during the American Farm Bureau convention. It was a good time to do it, as this was one of his best years for sugarcane ever.
This would be our second best crop ever, and the price is above average, so we're going to do very well. And hopefully, it'll keep on. And we've had a couple good years before that, so we're very happy with the progress we've been making.
It's good news after a long, sloppy harvest. Maybe now they can get some rest before it starts back up again. For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Neil Melanson.
While sugar content was low this year, the LSU Ag Center estimates that 1 million more tons of sugarcane were harvested this year compared to last. Acreage was also up from the prior year, and they expect it to go up again this year in 2019. While the 2018 cane harvest is now behind us, many farmers are already looking ahead to this year's crop and the work that needs to happen right now at their local FSA office. Primarily, that means getting paperwork done. With the government reopening for at least 3 more weeks, Louisiana Farm Bureau National Affairs Director Kyle McCann says those growers who use operating loans need to get into their local FSA offices as soon as they can.
It's this time of year to get your operating loans lined up and go forward. Majority of growers in our state either use the direct or guaranteed loan program, so it's absolutely critical that they get moving on this. It takes some time, and these offices, while they're going to be open, it's not guaranteed they're going to be open after the 21st of February, so it's important to move on that.
Coming up next week, we'll take a look at exactly what our farmers and ranchers have to go through to get those operating loans for this year. Governor John Bel Edwards was the guest speaker at the North Louisiana Agribusiness Council Luncheon in West Monroe recently. The governor thanked the Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strain, and the delegation for their efforts on behalf of farmers and ranchers and foresters.
In Louisiana, $11 billion in economic value. That is huge for a state our size. That's huge for any state. And so it's critically important that we continue to support all the people engaged in agriculture in Louisiana and make sure that we do things that help them to prosper, because when they prosper, we all do better. And so that's what the message is about here today, thanking them for their contributions to our state, making sure they know that I'm going to be a reliable partner with them, working with Commissioner Strain and their legislative delegation who are all here today, so that we can do things that make sense. And, you know, it's not just a business, it's a way of life.
Edwards, who grew up on a dairy farm in Amite, Louisiana, said he has a great working relationship with the lawmakers who live in the row crop-dominated part of the Bayou State. Also at the Agribusiness Luncheon, Senator Francis Thompson received the Distinguished Service Award. Louisiana Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strain, presented Thompson with the award. The Delhi senator has served as a state legislator since 1975. He's always been a champion for agriculture because he knows how important it is to our state.
I am so happy and pleased. There's plenty of people that have done so much more than I have, but I'm glad that it gives me an indication that I have been focusing in the right direction.
Also at the luncheon, Robert Barry Barham of Morehouse Parish was named Outstanding Agriculture Producer of the Year. Charles Holly of Morehouse Parish earned the Specialty Producer Award, and Craig Smith of Doyline earned the Young Agriculture Producer Award. For more than 35 years, the North Louisiana Agribusiness Council has hosted the Ag Expo in Northeast Louisiana. Jeff Landry is the president of the organization. He says between the big tractors, the livestock show, Ag Alley, and the businesses filling the exhibit hall, the Ag Expo has something for everyone.
The Ag Expo is very important to North Louisiana as it relates to agriculture. The Ag Expo is all about agriculture, of course, and it's about educating the public on the importance of agriculture here in North Louisiana, but it's also for the farmers. The farmers can connect with vendors who supply various products, and then it also gives families an opportunity to get out and actually even get their hands on agriculture, to experience agriculture. It's kind of like bringing agriculture, the farm, to the city so that the people can actually learn to appreciate where their food comes from.
This is a great opportunity for us to connect with consumers and also answer any questions they may have. A really common question is, oh, well, what's the difference? Why don't grain-fed animals spend any time on the pasture? Well, in fact, the actual statistic is grain-finished cattle also spend about 75 to 80% of their lives pastured as well. So simple questions like that the average consumer probably doesn't have a farmer to ask. This is a great opportunity and a great setting to do so.
I think having an expo like this, you get to meet people from all over the country and all over the Southeast that you wouldn't normally get to meet without going way off to an event. And it's a little smaller scale, but it concentrates the people that you need to meet, that you need to know about who they are and what they can offer you to help you grow.
There's so much to experience. I mean, first of all, the kids just love getting their hands on the animals, touching, seeing the animals up close. We have a horse exhibit that Louisiana Tech Equestrian Club puts on. Kids can even ride a pony, you know, so that's awesome that we're bringing the farm to the family right here at the Ag Expo. People can walk through the Ag Expo main arena, even get to taste a lot of Louisiana agriculture. They can also experience a livestock show. Lots for families to see, to touch, to experience, observe all the hard work of the youth who are showing these animals. We certainly want people to experience, to be educated, but it's also a celebration of agriculture. So the Ag Expo is just a wonderful show for everybody, the whole ag community, and beyond just the local area, even North Louisiana, it's for the whole state. But then also, like we said, it's great for the family to come and enjoy and appreciate, experience agriculture.
Landry owns and operates Landry Vineyards in West Monroe, a company with people who know a thing or two about passing a good time. To learn more about the Ag Expo or about Landry Vineyards, you can visit our website at twilatv.org. Jeff Landry definitely knows how to pair a great wine with a great steak, but so do the chefs who work for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and for the Cattlemen's Beef Board. That's why the groups held a pop-up dinner in New Orleans recently to remind food bloggers and journalists that beef is what's for dinner.
There's nothing like a party in New Orleans to get people talking. In this case, they're talking about what's for dinner, beef. And the people here are food bloggers and journalists from across the country meeting with chefs and cattle ranchers.
Well, I've always loved beef.
Whitney Bond lives in San Diego, California, and has her own food blog. A native of Oklahoma, she loves having ties to the beef industry.
I love coming to events like this where I can get new inspiration for the blog and really see how the beef is being produced, where it's being produced, where the meat's coming from, and learn maybe some new tips and techniques on different cuts of meat that I'm not using on the blog that I can then share with my readers.
I'm a big believer in getting out of silos and communicating across silos. It's too easy for people just to get into themselves and not communicate with others.
Dr. Temple Grandin sees the value in an event like this because it exposes the followers of these food bloggers to new ideas and agriculture they may not see anywhere else. She says that's especially important for young people.
Students get interested in things they get exposed to. And we're finding in our Department of Animal Science that we'll have students that have had no exposure to the industry get exposed to it, find out they like it.
The majority of our society has never stepped foot on a farm, doesn't know a farmer, doesn't vote like a farmer. I mean, 98.5% of our society is not actively engaged in farming.
East Feliciana Parish rancher Amelia Kent also sits on the Cattlemen's Beef Board. She's glad that Chef Richard Brennan is here to show these bloggers how to prepare cuts of beef, because she finds that can seem daunting to younger consumers.
One of the dynamics within the beef industry that we have a challenge with is a young consumer not knowing how to cook many of our cuts, our beef cuts. So having a preparation demo, especially to this food blogging influencing audience, is great because frankly, beef can be simple.
For Bond, getting fresh ideas just feeds her passion to teach others to love cooking and eating together as much as she does.
Now the fact that there are thousands of people out there every day making recipes that I've made for their families just really warms my heart and makes me happy.
It's always an honor to speak with Dr. Temple Grandin. Aside from this pop-up event, there are 2 other places you can go to get great information about beef. One of them is the National Cattlemen's Beef Association Convention held this year in New Orleans. That's going on next week, and we're going to have lots of that for you in next week's show. The other is right there from Alexa or Google. If you have an Amazon Echo or a Google Home device, you can add on the Chuck Knows Beef extension to it and then ask anything about beef, whether it's recipes, about cuts of beef, what temperature to cook it to. I went and spoke with Chuck a little bit earlier, and now I have a great skirt steak recipe. Still to come on Twila, it's crawfish time, and we have the prices you need to go out and get some of your favorites. But first, we're going to take a ride over to the stables and check out some beautiful Louisiana thoroughbreds. Stay with us.
Before I got active in Farm Bureau at the level that I'm at now, I often felt like I was isolated on the farm. It was just me against the world. Now, with my Farm Bureau family, I got somebody going against the world with me. I am Farm Bureau.
I now hope they're fighting today.
I hope they are.
Find your place in the country and the lender who can get you there. Find Louisiana Land Bank. Financing for country homes, recreational property, farms and ranches, and agribusiness.
Before you sweeten your morning joe, before the icing on the cake, before the sugar hits the shelf. It begins with a family of sugarcane farmers dedicated to growing Louisiana for more than 220 years. The Sugarcane Growers of Louisiana, making life sweeter, naturally.
Sugarcane, sweet sugarcane.
Louisiana oysters, salty, sweet, and delicious. But have you ever thought about what happens to all those oyster shells? Most of them end up in trash cans and landfills. The Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana is changing this with its oyster shell recycling program, and you can help by visiting these participating restaurants. It's a simple and delicious way to restore our coast. The shells will then be used to sustain and rebuild oyster reefs. Remember, once you shuck them, don't just chuck them.
We continue now with our special edition of Twila from Caneland Distilling, home of 3 Roll Estate Spirits. And behind me, you see a giant gear from a sugar mill. All around Caneland Distilling, you're going to find artifacts and implements from sugar mills, which are used as decoration. In fact, right over there, right off camera, is a cane cart you can sit inside of here on the back porch and enjoy some rum drinks with your friends. You might think it's all fun and games, but the horse industry in Louisiana has some serious clop as well as serious clout. It's one of the top 10 agriculture businesses in Louisiana, and as Twila's Tammy Arnder tells us, during the American Farm Bureau Federation annual meeting in New Orleans, visitors got a chance to hoof it out to a real horse farm.
Clear Creek is just one of nearly 50 horse breeding facilities in Louisiana. The equine industry generates over $2 billion a year to the state's economy, according to the Louisiana Department of Tourism. But Louisiana is probably not top of mind when you think of horses. That's one of the reasons Louisiana Farm Bureau wanted to take convention goers on this tour.
Between Saturday and Tuesday, we'll carry 800 and something people from all over the United States to see different commodities here in Louisiana. Kind of give them a little flavor. You know, a lot of things we do in Louisiana nobody else does anywhere else.
So this group gets to go on a real Louisiana hayride, getting up close and personal with horses like Star Guitar, a retired Louisiana-bred racehorse that won nearly $2 million and won Horse of the Year 4 times. For Val Merle, who owns Clear Creek, he loves to compare his agriculture venture with row crop farmers, noting that his horse farm is labor-intensive without the help of expensive machinery.
They're able to do it with machinery. You can't replace the help that you have to raise horses with a machine. It's just not possible.
Many of those on the tour say it's fascinating to learn how things are done so differently in the South as opposed to in the North, like in Idaho, where Fred Scheffelmeyer has saddle horses.
Just everything in this country is a little different. You have to adapt to different climates and different aspects of agriculture are all different.
For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Tammy Arender.
Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser says he plans to make Louisiana the premier state for the equine industry and says that all roads to the Kentucky Derby must go through Louisiana. In fact, the Louisiana Derby this year is March 23rd in New Orleans. You heard me mention that cane cart you can sit down and have a few drinks in. Well, here I am. I'm just missing the drinks. But still to come on Twila, we're going to sample a few of the drinks here at Caneland Distilling and also tell you about what the crawfish prices are across the state. Stay with us.
Landowners are minding the Louisiana forest for our grandchildren. A place for wildlife, recreation, lumber for homes. It's the right thing to do. Forestry, covering half our state, all of our hearts.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
I don't think you can separate my mom, the farmer, from just my mom, Judia.
She's half of me. If the tractor would get stuck, she'd get in the mud and help me get it out.
Katie takes care of the paperwork. Her main focus is the H-2A compliance.
If tomorrow Deborah just disappeared, that would be kind of like cutting off one of my hands.
Both of us are one, and both of this is our thing together.
She's my best friend in the world, and that's just the way it is.
I am a giant panda bear, loving bamboo. I almost went extinct, but I'm not because of you.
I am a grown squirrel, I almost was too. If it wasn't for the help of the San Diego Zoo.
How about you join us?
Save it as a tortoise.
We need your help to bring species back, so bring us back from the brink of extinction. Won't you bring us back from the brink of extinction? Won't you bring us back from the brink of extinction? Won't you bring us back from the brink of extinction?
And desert tortoise.
We continue with our special edition of Twila from Caneland Distilling, which would be a good place if you wanted to have a good crawfish boil. So it may be winter, but most people are thinking about the next season here in Louisiana, and that's crawfish season. The first sacks of crawfish have already started to come in, and we looked around the state to see how the prices were, and some places still are not stocking crawfish, but you know where they are, you can get them. In Lafayette, Kevin's live crawfish are $4.50 per pound. Right down the road at Lanyo's, you can buy them boiled at $5.65 a pound. In Alexandria, they're a little bit harder to find for some reason. Hotheads has them at $7.49 a pound boiled. In North Louisiana, Larry P's Boiling Point in Shreveport has them live and boiled. Live crawfish is $5.50 a pound and $7.50 for boiled crawfish. And of course, the best source for the best price and the freshest product is to know a crawfish farmer. Not only will you enjoy crawfish that just came out of the pond, but they get the best price as well. If you want to track the crawfish prices on your own, you can download the Crawfish app. I know Carl has it on his iPhone. I have it on my Android, so you can find it in all of the app stores. And we're going to be bringing you the crawfish prices all season long, Carl, because we are now sponsored by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board. Ask before you eat. And so I'm going to have you play a game called Ask Before You Drink. So behind some of these bottles are small little tasting cups of some of my favorite rums from Caneland Distilling. The 3-roll estate rums and the OMFW whiskey, all are excellent, and also the vodka over here. Can't leave out the vodka. They're all excellent, but I want to get your take on it because you're not a big rum drinker.
No.
I drink probably as much rum as Captain Jack Sparrow, which I probably shouldn't admit to on TV. But I want to start you off with what I consider to be the cleanest tasting of them all, and that's the rum agricole.
This is the one I did a story on. This is the one they're celebrating with the harvest, end of harvest party. So let us see.
Give that a taste, a smell. What do you think of that?
It's good. It's got a real fresh taste, very kind of earthy.
Yeah,
I get that. So that's really a really good drink. Well, that's what you were saying earlier. You would drink with lime.
Lime
nice.
On the rocks. That's how Haley makes it over here at Caneland. Really so we're going to move you on to what's probably the next in the flavor profile, and that is going to be the spiced rum. Okay. So give that a taste. This is my go-to at home. So,
smells good.
Yeah.
Smells really good.
I like to drink that one neat.
Taste some early vanilla in that. It's really good. I could drink that. I can say you can drink that neat, maybe on the rocks, maybe for me.
You got the cloves in there as well, a little bit of citrus. Good. Really, really good. So now we're going to go to the dark rum, and this is going to be made with just molasses.
I'm mad at that.
That's one of my favorites too.
These are all your favorites, and that's really good.
You learned that.
That's really good. That tastes. Got a dry taste to it for sure. I could see using that almost in place of some whiskey in like an old fashioned or even just a whiskey Coke. I don't know if you want to put Coke in that to dilute it, but
they make a rum old fashioned here that's really
that's good. Really good. I want to see this last thing. It
looks so this
fancy.
One, I think this one's going to be right up your alley. This is the Red Stick. It is cinnamon spiced rum. But the cinnamon they use comes from Sri Lanka. It's a little bit softer and has a different flavor profile from what you're going to find in other cinnamon-flavored liqueurs.
This smells like an apple pie. If it tastes like it smells, I want the bottle.
I think you're going to take it home.
Gosh.
So there we go. Takes the taste.
That is awesome. I want the entire bottle. I want a case of that.
Here you go. I can't get you a case. I might be able to get you a bottle, Carl.
When you hear cinnamon, you think Fireball, because that's kind of the popular one these days, but my goodness, this is next level. Not at all Fireball.
That blows Fireball out of the water. Absolutely. So you go ahead and finish that. I'll finish the show. I want to thank everyone here at Caneland Distilling. Haley, Johnny, Walter, Yvette, thank you so much for hosting us, especially while we're getting some things changed up in our studio. It's nice to have a second home that we can go to. Be sure to join us next week when Carl will recover from his hangover. And we'll also bring you all of the events and happenings from the National Cattlemen's Beef Association Convention in New Orleans. For Carl and the whole Twila team, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.